Hey y'all, my name's Seth Packan, and this is Podunk Perspective, a podcast based on the Podunk Perspective. Podunk Perspective, we are back with my man Dylan Wolff. How we doing?
Good, bro. How are you doing?
Oh, just great. You know, got some Podunk Perspective hats in. If you want one, message me, let me know. Yep, little plug there. Dylan, you're an artist in town, man. You are a great artist. You put out some cool songs, but also some funny-ass songs, dude.
I appreciate it, bro. Thank you.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from Arizona.
Okay.
Like Phoenix.
Well, so what made you move to Nashville from Arizona?
Oh, man. Well, I've always loved country music.
Yeah.
And being from Arizona, you know, I've always been influenced by, like, the cool classic Western, Old West stuff that, you know, like our parents grew up on. And since the demographic of Arizona has changed quite a bit in my lifetime, there's just not a lot of good Western stuff left, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think that Nashville's kind of the last stand for that at the moment.
What was some of that music you grew up on?
Oh, Waylon Jennings, Linda Ronstadt, all the California country artists and all of the real great outlaws. I mean, I loved it all. Everything from, you know, Waylon to Glenn Campbell, Johnny Cash, all of it. But really, the cool outlaw Western stuff that talked about the history of America, you know?
Yeah. Is that way, like, were your parents kind of pushing you to do that, or like listen, like do music and like, you know, that type of thing, or?
You know, my dad was a rock star. He was a bassist.
Yeah.
Long-haired rock singer. So I was always around music growing up. But no, we were on a camping trip when I was like 10 years old. Yeah. And my dad played Johnny Cash. He had Live at San Quentin on the iPod, you know. A few kids remember those things.
Well, iPod, yay big. Had a billion songs on it.
I remember it was like 64 gigabytes. You could fit like 5 albums or whatever, right? And, dude, he played Live at San Quentin. And I'd never heard anything that I loved as much as that. And I listened to country music ever since that moment.
What did your first concert look like?
My first concert was the Foo Fighters when I was 7 years old.
Okay.
And it was badass. They had Serge Tankian opening up, the singer of System of a Down. And
what venue were you seeing this at?
I can't remember. I believe it was where the Phoenix Coyotes played, who are no longer a team. Okay. They just settled on the Utah Mammoth or whatever.
Nice.
Yeah.
What a change.
No comment.
What a change. But that concert was great, though?
It was great, dude. I feel like I should ask you some questions, you know?
Bro, no. This is about you. This is about your artistry and who you are. We're getting you out. We're exposing Dylan Wolff because he needs to be heard by everyone, dude. Bro. So, living in Phoenix, you said, growing up, what was that like?
But don't spill all of them.
Was it Podunk there in Phoenix?
It was. I grew up. Phoenix is such a big place, you know, and I grew up on the way north side, out by Cave Creek, which is really cool, old Western town. Still to this day, I mean, it looks like you're still in 1910. Right. And I also grew up as an outdoorsman. I mean, we hunted, and my family sold guns growing up. So naturally, I was always out in the desert, or out in the woods, or with my grandma up at her house in Munns Park, which is a little unincorporated community outside of Flagstaff, Arizona. And it was Podunk for sure. I mean, you could spend your whole life just living in the city of Phoenix. It's so big, but you know, none of my memories growing up I really spent in the city. It was always out, you know, killing shit or riding four-wheelers or you know, drinking beer, maybe a little younger than we were supposed to. But we had a good time. Right. Yeah.
No, that's cool. So I've heard that you have a little bit of a car collection. Is this true?
That's true.
What do you got? What's in your garage?
I wouldn't call it much of a collection, you know. It's I got I have a 1983 F-150. It was my grandpa's that I've driven for a lot of years here in Nashville. And then I have a 1984 F-150 that I rescued from this long story short, this guy died. He was cooking meth on this property. and they these people, they said, you know, if you come out and help us clean up this lab, we'll give you a free truck. And I was like, score, you know, I've never worked with meth before, but how hard can it be? And hard is the answer, is really hard. And $15,000 later, my truck is running, and I've replaced several things several times, learning how to do stuff. And
so did you learn all this like on your own? Like, did your dad kind of have a interest in cars and stuff?
My dad, working on the 83 F-150, my grandpa's truck. I mean, my dad knew a lot. And then, you know, I just got a Chilton manual, and I learned the hard way. You know, the tweakers were working on this truck, right? So I remember when I went to drop the oil pan, you know, I found the socket, and I dropped it. I moved to the next bolt. Different size. So it took me a minute. First one was standard. The other one was metric. And I was like, that's weird, but whatever. Go to the next one. Different size. Every single bolt was a different size in this drain pan. I mean, maybe a couple of them were the same size, but none of it wasn't like recurring, you know? And the third one that I have, the third truck, I have an 85 Bronco that we're just about to start on. It's baby blue.
Ooh.
Also from the same meth property. My dad said he wanted that one, and then ultimately decided after watching me go through hell with Billy, the 84, so he wanted no part of it. So we shall see what's in store for that one.
So you lived like the real life Breaking Bad, basically.
You know what? A little bit. I'm a little bit like Walter White, except not at all. I wish on this podcast I could tell the whole story, but it's a little too profane for TV, you know?
Hey, you know what? That's okay. We'll figure it out. So what was Dylan like, you know, going through high school, coming up as a young kid?
Why would you ask a question like that? I was like any other kid, you know? When I was growing up, you know, I loved country music. Yeah. I also loved rock because that's what I grew up on, and I played bass and sang in a band growing up. And but the country thing in Phoenix, it wasn't popular, even though I wore the Sperry's and stuff like everybody did, and I always felt weird and like an imposter because I don't go on boats, you know. I live in Arizona, there's no damn water, and I remember I got my first pair of Lucchese's. There was an old guy in my neighborhood, and he was selling them. He divorced his ex-wife. They used to go dancing together. He didn't need them anymore. His new wife didn't like to dance. And I went to his house, and he sold me them with matching belts. And I bought 3 at once. I should have bought that 4th pair, but, you know, busting out Lucchese money when you're 13
You should
or
really
14.
write a song about that whole story.
I think that's a great idea. I appreciate that. We can write it after we get fucked up on this podcast.
Right. So, did you play any sports in high school? Like, what were you doing besides music? You know, like what was?
I'm sorry.
No, what were you doing? Like, what?
Dude, I played football. I went to a charter school, and they didn't have football at our school, and there was some scandal, Saguaro High School scandal.
Like hazing or something?
It was something like that. I can't remember exactly what they were doing. Pretty sure they were hiring kids away financially from other high schools. Yeah. And they made a law in Arizona. To my understanding,
I think it's that in every state.
Yeah. Well, they made a law where, you know, I would walk on to high schools and I would play football. Right. I was defensive end. I played a couple other positions too. And I would walk on, and because I went to a charter school and they didn't have football, I would walk on and I'd get to play. And then they made a rule to where you couldn't do that anymore. And so I was younger than my grade freshman year, and I walked on with a bunch of older kids on a Pop Warner team that would have been.
So you would go to charter school, and then obviously you would meet them at practice.
Yes. And when I say charter school, I mean like I played bass in an orchestra and sang. Yeah. So it was like, you know, I wasn't the Sperry's were for getting bitches, you know. It wasn't for part of the dress code. And this is What were we talking about? Oh, I played with a guy named Spencer Rattler. He's a quarterback on the New Orleans Saints right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Spencer so I was 14 playing on this Pop Warner club team. We were the Firebirds. We went undefeated that year. And I've always said, Spencer, if you're hearing this right now, just remember I'm making it right now. You better beat out that Tyler Show for starting quarterback. We got commercials to make like Brad and Peyton Manning, you know?
That's awesome.
That's your end of the deal. I'm doing my thing right now.
Spence, you heard it, bro.
He's already on the Saints, so I'm not doing shit. But, I remember Spencer was always great to me. I mean, he was always a really nice guy. That was my experience with him. But I remember one time in practice, I rushed around and I sacked Spencer in practice.
You sacked Spencer?
I sacked Spencer, and my whole team was like, fuck yeah, Wolff! And I remember his dad was the quarterback's coach or whatever, and he came up and grabbed me by the face mask and he ripped me up off the ground, and he was like, Wolff, if you ever touch Spencer again. And I was like, you know, I'm sorry. That was my moment. But, yeah.
That's tight.
That was a little bit off track there, but thanks.
No, honestly, that's sick. So obviously, you just played football in high school.
Played football, and I played rock and roll in a rock band.
What was your first gig looking like? Like, was it in Arizona or was it like in Nashville? Like your first gig?
It was in Arizona. I played first gig. I don't know when the first gig was. I remember I played a funeral one time.
Oh.
My guitarist Josh, his mom's hairdresser's husband, I believe, he died, and they needed somebody to play at the funeral, and they hired my rock band when I was like 15, and we played things like like Freebird, and we shouldn't have gotten hired. There's pictures of us with the casket right behind the stage.
Was it more of a celebration of life, or was it an actual funeral? Like
it was a celebration, that's for sure.
Okay,
it was
Well, I actually feel. I mean, as long as the atmosphere.
I mean, he was there.
Yeah.
That was a little insensitive. I'm sorry, guys. That was just the true story, you know.
Yeah. So what was your first like bar gig? You know, like were you playing at like your hometown bar or anything like that, or did you have to travel for that and go play somewhere else?
First bar gig.
First writers round. Something.
You know what? I don't remember the first time I ever played in a bar. I remember when I was like 15 or 16. My dad played at a bar in Phoenix on the west side, in Glendale probably. And I remember they let me in because I was the singer's son. And I got up and I played bass and sang with my dad on a few songs. And that was really cool, because I was 15 or 16.
Yeah. And
at the end of the night, his bassist, Reese, he had left his bar tab open and a bunch of extra beers had gotten ordered. And
by who?
I don't even know. They were just sitting on a table, a bunch of full beers, the Steins. I'm talking about the big ones, baby, like 32 ounces or whatever. And I remember they were just sitting in a circle on the table. Nobody claimed them, and I was like, Dad, look at all, this is like 2 a.m., mind you, and I was like, Dad, all the beer. And he was like, get behind the amplifier. And he just handed me the Steins, and I was chugging them, and he was like, how the fuck can you do that? And I was like, never mind, just hand me another one, And we partied till like 5 a.m. And I remember my dad's bassist and his guitarist cornering me and being like, do you smoke pot? And I was like...
How old are you at this time?
I think 15. And I was like, no. They were like, you don't have to lie to us. We'll send Greg outside. And I was like, not here, I've already done as much as I can do for tonight.
Yeah.
And anyway, first writers round was at Belcourt Taps. It's no longer around. It was a great place, though. Yeah. Honestly, I miss... One of the saddest things about Nashville is though there's still a million writers rounds
Right.
and places that you can go to make it. When I was first coming to Nashville, there was a few spots, all the taps, Belcourt taps, Alley taps, Cabana taps, and they were really a open, safe spot for songwriters of all ages when I was in college, to get on when you were just trying to get your feet wet and do what everybody else was doing. And a lot of those places went away during COVID, and that was sad.
Yeah. So what was that transition like for you moving to Nashville? Were you scared? Were you like, I'm ready to do this? Or
Honestly, I moved for college.
yeah,
So
where'd you go to school at?
I went to Belmont.
Okay.
Belmont
Yeah.
University. And no, I was so ready to party. And, I'd always heard about college girls and stuff. And, back then I was real thin and svelte. And
A few beers happened. And
yeah, a lot of beers happened. But, I was looking good and I was ready to go. And I wasn't nervous at all. I was ready to party it up. I went to a Christian university, so you can imagine now that was reined in a little bit.
yep.
But
What'd you go to school for?
music business.
Okay.
Yep, like a business degree with extra copyright classes and some stuff with digital audio workstations.
Did you learn a lot?
I did learn a lot.
Did they know what they were talking about?
They definitely knew what they were talking about. I think that during COVID, which is the end of my college experience, it kind of derailed the last couple of years as far as how much I was learning. But yeah, well, it's tough when you're sitting at home and Zoom's right there and your guitar's right there and your whiskey's over there. But yeah, when I moved to Nashville, I was really ready for it and really excited. It was weird eventually because I would get so homesick.
Right.
Because I come from the desert. And, it sounds backwards, but I'd look outside and there'd be grass and trees and stuff, and I'd just feel like I was on Mars. And, it made me uncomfortable. And I would always miss home. I didn't see no saguaros, which are big cactuses that we got instead of trees.
Yeah.
And mountains. I missed all that.
Yeah, I went to Arizona once. I was hanging out at Camelback Mountain.
Yeah.
That area. My buddy had a house out there, dude. We went out there. And it was a good time. Honestly, we were below 21, but we had a little bit of pot and we hung out for 5 days and ate some of the best food I've ever had.
Hell yeah.
Dude, there's a steakhouse out there, like Steak 41 or something like that.
I think it's Steak 44.
Yes. Yeah. Probably that. That shit was so good.
Yeah, nobody invites me there. That's too expensive.
Bro, I remember,
Phoenix is a food city, though, isn't it?
Like, the whole area. If you go we went and checked out the stadium and everything. That was badass. But, going up in the mountains, driving through, going seeing Larry Fitzgerald's house and
yeah, dude,
that whole thing. Were you a big Cardinals fan growing up?
I'm a huge Cardinals fan. I've been with the Cardinals through thick and really, really thin. Mostly thin. I hope that they, not to spur them too hard, but I might kill myself soon if you guys don't win something, Not really, but maybe. I don't
What's
know.
up with your quarterback situation, man? What's going on there?
Oh, man. What if this were to go viral and I was honest,
Hey, listen, I'm very honest about my Lions. I don't bullshit.
Well,
We've been through the ringer. Y'all are kind of going through that same shit right now.
I think that you ask about Kyler, dude. I think that Kyler's shown us a lot of really good moments. And
You think he should have been a baseball player?
I think he should have been a baseball player. I think he's really great sometimes, and honestly, Kyler's a winner at heart.
Yes.
But
Good athlete.
not to be, not to sound like everybody else, but he's too short. And it's nothing. He's the fastest son of a bitch in the NFL, but when the guy in front of you is 6'5" and you're 5'10", you can't see shit.
What do you got against short guys?
It's not that I have anything against short guys. It's that when you get paid millions of dollars a year,
right,
you, all of a sudden, it's just like if you're a woman in Sports Illustrated, some of your features are gonna be,
featured.
More, exactly. And when you're getting money for it, things have to be sized up. And that Is this podcast over yet?
Listen, man, I tell you what. My man Dylan definitely came from a Podunk perspective, and I truly appreciate it. That's why I brought him on. Honestly,
I appreciate it, bro.
So let's talk about, dude. Like, so you've been in Nashville for, you said 7 years now?
I think this is my 7th year. I moved August of 2018.
That's impressive, man.
Long time.
Love it? Hate it?
I love Nashville. I mean, there's things about it that piss me off all the time. Arizona's everything to me. I miss the Southwest. If I made it big, I'd be back there in a heartbeat. But Nashville's a special place that does a special thing that nowhere else can do. And, no matter what you want to say about it, you have to remember that.
Right. What's one of the coolest experiences you've had since living here in Nashville? It might have happened a few weeks ago. Maybe not. Maybe there's a cooler experience than that.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. When my boy John Daly hopped up on stage with me. That was awesome. He was singing along to Prom Dress, the best song of the summer. Best song, that God maybe ever even heard. And, right after the climb. And and John Daly, he was headbanging right there in the front row. He smoked 3 packs of Cowboy Killers, 3 packs of Marlboro Reds, sitting in the front row. About 5 hours, but still, god dang.
And whose round was this at?
This was Raised Rowdy.
Shout out Raised Rowdy.
Shout out Raised Rowdy. I love those sons of bitches.
Me too. Love them guys.
Nikki and Maddie, who's better than you? Nobody.
So come on, tell the story. So he came up on stage, and then what happened after that?
He actually at the beginning of the round, they had said, they were like, we kind of wanted to try to get John to come on stage, and I was like, that's fine. And they were like, can you play covers? And we were all like, yeah, I mean, duh. And so they come back, and they were like, John wants to play Knocking on Heaven's Door. And which I found out from the comments on that one viral video that he's played Knocking on Heaven's Door at other events before. But he gets up, and he's all like, if you're tired, man, I could play guitar. And I was like, fuck no. Yeah. I got you, John. I sing backups, We kind of look the same. And we sang through it, and Tommy, my wonderful guitarist, he just absolutely shredded. My whole band, everybody was great. And John had a great time. And he was singing right in my grill. And I want to shout out to John for his breath. I mean, it was good, considering he smoked 3 packs of cigarettes. I mean, I never once was like, ooh. And so we had a great time. And then we got some pictures after. I got to smoke a cigarette with John Daly. And
tell us more about that story, how you tried to smoke a cigarette with John Daly. Because it didn't... I mean, it went how you planned, but I mean, someone was trying to interfere with that.
Oh, yeah. So, John had said, he was going to move to the next bar and that I could come, hang out with him. And I was like, I want a picture smoking cigarettes with John Daly. I mean,
the John Daly.
Yeah. Even though I know that my lady's parents would not like the pictures once they saw him, I was like, this is a moment for me. And so I thought about that, I was like, backlash. But anyway, I went out and I found this really nice Australian guy, and he gave me a little old Siggy Wiggy, and I walked back in, and I told the security guard who had roped off John Daly's section, I was like, I just played with John, and they let me in, and I walked to him, and John was like, come here, put his arm around me, and I lit that cigarette, and, he was smoking. Yeah. And then the second I lit that, we took the picture, the security guard was like, you need to put that shit out. And I was like, absolutely. And I just, right to him, put it out on that
you got your bottle. Picture,
Oh, yeah, I got my picture. It was a great time.
Yeah, that's such a cool experience. I mean, especially playing Raised Rowdy, the bar is always packed when they're having a round over at Losers or Winners, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
Or Duck Blind, I should say.
Oh, and just so you guys know, after that, I went back outside to return the lighter to the Australian guy. If you wonder what kind of partier I am, I gave it right back. I smoked the rest of that cigarette with him and told him about how it got used. Yep, that was a great time.
So obviously that's a cool story you have, right? That's probably going to top the list of some sort. But I mean, you've been here for 7 years now. You got to have some other stories that.
Dude, I've gotten to have really a lot of cool stories for somebody who's only 24. Somebody who I really look up to, Charlie Pride. I don't know if you know who he is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Charlie Pride was one of my heroes growing up, loving country music. And I got the opportunity when I was at Belmont. He came to do a seminar, and this was maybe a month before he died. And he came to Belmont, and
beer.
Yeah, we got to stand in line to talk to him. And right as I was about to get to him, maybe I was like 2 people back, he was getting sick, and he didn't want to talk to anybody else. And so I was like, I was all heartbroken because I was gonna have him sign my tits or whatever. And Charlie was like, I'm done. And they pushed us away. And he grabbed the collar of my shirt and grabbed the collar of my buddy Seth's shirt. We were 2 big guys. And he used us as a battering ram all the way to the elevator. And that was way damn cooler than, getting my tits signed. And
like, you're my built-in security guard. Dude, here we go.
Charlie Pride used me as a battering ram to the elevator in the Johnson building in Belmont.
That's badass.
That might be as cool as playing with John Daly.
Right. Oh, that's so cool. Honestly, I went to Belmont Theater a week or 2 ago for the first time. It was like I don't know because I know they have a bunch of them on campus, but it's like kind of has like a teal interior to it. Maybe you know what I'm talking. I mean, it's a newer. I don't know. Long story short.
God, that school's grown so much even since I went there a few years ago.
Yeah. I mean, long story short, Dirks was doing a tour rehearsal there or whatever. And so Primetime helped me get into that or whatever. So I went in and saw the rehearsal. And that theater is beautiful. The money they put into that campus is actually kind of crazy.
It is crazy. Belmont's one of the most beautiful schools ever. I'm really proud to get to be an alum from there.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. So what's new? What's up and coming? What's next for Dylan Wolff?
Man, well, we just put out Prom Dress, and we've been really excited about that. Got to write that with one of my best friends in the whole world, Adam James, an amazing writer. We got one more single coming out before we drop an EP later this summer, probably the next couple months. We haven't decided the dates quite yet, and then we're trying to do some touring through the Midwest later in this fall, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana. I know we're playing the Illinois State Fair in August.
Badass.
Yeah, we're trying to get out there and see the people, where they are.
Yeah, and I know you play the listening room here a lot in Nashville. That's one of the places I've seen you play and shit. And you've I've seen you play. There's 2 guys that you write a lot with, or you've played a lot. Who were those guys?
I write and play a lot with Adam James.
Yeah.
He wrote songs like Knowing You for Kenny Chesney, Roses in a Time Machine for Dierks Bentley. He's an amazing writer. And Casey Timmer,
yes, also
one of my big shepherds in the music industry. He wrote Yeah Boy for Kelsey Ballerini, Time Makes Money Look Cheap that Chris Jansen just released. Amazing writer.
Yeah.
And then I have I'm really fortunate to have a lot of other really badass friends. I'm about to play with Marv Green and Marla Cannon, 2 of the most respected writers in the industry. Tons of them, honestly. I'm very lucky to have really cool people who believe in me.
Yeah, so obviously you kind of look up to them as like mentors.
Absolutely.
When it comes to music and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how when you'll write with somebody that, we're all on the same level until you're not, right? Until you make it, you're still, and even then you're still on the same level. Mm-hmm. But when I'm writing with people that are my peers, I feel often, I can lead in a room and I have a lot to contribute. And you're reminded when you write with these big hit songwriters, these ones that are amazing, sometimes, they're spitting out such cool stuff so fast that you end up writing 4 words in a song and you're like, God dang, Yeah. I guess I don't know shit.
No, but it's cool to learn from those guys, right? Because, we're all coming from somewhere, and obviously they're a little bit older than you, and they learn from guys that were a little bit older than them.
Absolutely.
It's just the way of life and stuff. So it's pretty cool. But speaking of songs you've written and stuff, I think we're going to get to you playing a little bit of music here. How about that, eh?
All right.
What do we think?
That sounds good. All right.
Sweet. Dylan Wolff, sing us some songs, my man. You're going to serenade us with some of your best songs. You got your newest release you're about to sing us. What's it called?
Yeah, sure. It's called Prom Dress.
And you've been teasing it on the TikTok, on the Instagram. Put in that hard work. Make sure you go like the content because it takes hard work.
I'd really appreciate that. Yeah, it's out everywhere. Came out May 16th, my little sister's birthday. All right. Early's on time is late, and if you're late, you're SOL. Bought a case of clay pigeons last Saturday, and they ain't gonna shoot themselves. Got the four-wheelers gassed up, beers in a bathtub, everything but Bud Light. Shotguns racked up, empty, stacked up, let a redneck recognize we're going off like a prom dress, going down like a sunset. On a roll like country crock, ain't gonna stop whether you like it or not. When she's sucking on a long neck, know it's gonna be a night you can't forget. Bunch of one-stop like kids doing what we do best, going off like a prom dress, going off like a prom dress. Smoking hot crop top, burning black top, dipping long cut in a short bed. Calling her friend, she swears they're tens. If y'all don't know it yet, we're going out like a prom dress, going down like a sunset. On a roll like country crock, ain't gonna stop whether you like it or not. When she's sucking on a long dick, know it's gonna be a night you can't forget. Bunch of one-stop like kids doing what we do best, growing off like a prom dress. Yeah, going off like a prom dress. Got the four-wheelers gassed up, beers in a bathtub, everything but Bud Light. Shotguns racked up, empty, stacked up, gonna be a hell of a night. Going on like a prom dress, going down like a sunset. On a roll like country crock, ain't gonna stop whether you like it or not. When she's sucking on a long neck, know it's gonna be a night you can't forget. Bunch of one-stop like kids doing what we do best. We're all one-stop like kids doing what we do best, going off like a prom dress. Yeah, going off like a prom dress. Oh, prom dress.
Goddamn prom dress, baby. That was awesome, man.
Thank you, bro.
So tell us a little bit like how you came up with the song, the idea behind it. Did you come up with it? Who'd you write it with? You know, that whole thing.
I wrote it with Adam James.
Yep.
Again, one of my best buddies and my favorite songwriters. I had the idea going off like a prom dress. It's a saying that, you know, my family has a lot of weird sayings. We're a weird mixing pot of our Southwestern culture and all the shit that my family brought over from Illinois and Missouri and whatever. And we go off like a prom dress in Arizona, you know. There's the city slickers down in Phoenix, but when we go out in the woods and we're doing, you know, stuff where nobody can see what's going on, we really party it up. And, yeah, that's what it's about. It's about partying.
That's badass, my man. So this next one I'm super excited for. I asked you beforehand to play this one. This is one song that I think is funny as hell, but honestly at the same time, it's borderline like, yeah, it could definitely be on the radio, you know, because people get a good laugh out of it, but at the same time, it's catchy. And I think more than a few people can admit they've kind of been in this scenario.
Oh, well, you know what, Seth? I couldn't have said it better myself. This is a true story adapted to protect the names of the guilty. And back when I was a handyman in Arizona, something a little bit like this happened to me. Well, good afternoon, ma'am. I'm the guy from the ad, and I'm assuming the reason you called is for something your man don't have. I brought my hammer, what means to get nailed. And if you think of anything else, I got services for sale. I'm the handyman, just trying to help out where I can. So you said there's a problem, ma'am. I'll take a look. I might not have gone to school, but sugar, I got all the tools to get the job done for you. I wrote the book. Hey, I'm the handyman. So your husband's a doctor. Well, isn't that neat? If he spent more time at home, he might know that this bed creaks. 'Cause I know your mattress could use a little more spring. And if he spent more time at home, he might know that this bed creaks. But I'm the handyman, just trying to help out where I can. So you said there's a problem, ma'am. I'll take a look. I might not have gone to school, but baby, I got all the tools to get the job done for you. I wrote the book. Hey, I'm the handyman. We spent time on the toilet, the shower, the sink for hours, and I just couldn't stop the leaking. I tried duct tape and rope, I twisted and choked until I heard the floorboard squeaking. I heard the rack of a gun. He said, tell me, son, why should I leave you breathing? And I said, hey, can you guys believe this is a true story? It was just a handyman, just trying to help out where I can. And your wife's got a problem, man, and she's got me shook. Drop the gun from your hand. Well, it won't go how you planned. If blowing things could fix it then, but she'd have wrote the book. Well, I'm just the handyman. Let me slip out the back door and before you can count to 10, I'll be gone for good.
Mr. Dylan Wolff, Handyman. That song is out on all platforms.
I messed up a little line in there, but
hey, who knows?
You'll find out what that is when you stream it.
So, my man, that song, obviously hilarious. How'd you come up with that? Like, obviously you said it's a true story, but
it was a somewhat true story. It has some elements of different true stories that were kind of thrown in there to make it, for the listener's pleasure. And I had another idea for another song that I still intend to write, so none of you bitches better steal it. But about a cleaning lady that comes over, and every time she comes, she takes a little something, and we sat on it for a long time, and we couldn't figure out what to write about it. And we went and had lunch at my favorite spot, the Baja Burrito. And
shout out Baja Burrito.
Yep.
That place is gas. If you like Chipotle, it's better.
And me and my buddy Seth Thomas and Luke Bryan, We ate, and then we came back to the house, and we decided to. I write a lot of funny songs, and when we can't write anything serious or anything good, I'm like, fuck it, we can't leave without writing something. So let's get funny, And I don't know. We just started jamming that out, and it wrote itself in like 20 or 30 minutes.
That's awesome, my man. Well, my man, I really do appreciate you being on the pod. Obviously, you said you got some new stuff coming out here eventually. No release dates yet, but go follow Dylan Wolff on Instagram, TikTok. He puts effort in that content. It means a lot.
At the Dylan Wolff, not that other fake prick.
and make sure you follow him on Spotify, Apple. He's got songs out. He's the man.
Thank you so much,
dude.
Seth.
Cheers. Thank you for being on.
Absolutely, brother. I appreciate y'all. Podunk Perspective, baby.
Cheers to that.